Good morning friends. Today I am here with Respiration in Plants part 1 of 11th standard. In this session we are going to discuss cellular respiration, respiratory substrates, why plants don't have special respiratory organs, combustion of glucose, types of respiration, glycolysis and its process. So let us start the session with definition of cellular respiration. The process of respiration occurs inside the cells. So, the mechanism of breakdown of food materials within the cell to release energy and trapping of this energy for the synthesis of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate, is called cellular respiration. Now let us see what happens during respiration. In respiration, there is breaking of carbon-carbon bonds of complex compound through oxidation within the cells. And as a result of this, considerable amount of energy is released. Usually, carbohydrates are oxidized to release energy. Now we will discuss about respiratory substrates. As we know that plants also require energy like animals for their growth, development, metabolism and other activities. And this energy mainly comes from breakdown of various respiratory substrates. So the compounds that are oxidized during the process of respiration is called respiratory substrates. Under natural conditions, only carbohydrates are oxidized. So, carbohydrates are the major respiratory substrates in plants. But there are also other respiratory substrates like fats, organic acids, proteins, etc. Now, there is one question. Do plants breathe? The answer to this question is big yes. Plants require oxygen for respiration to occur and also give out carbon dioxide. So, plants have systems to ensure the availability of oxygen, and the exchange of gases takes place through stomata and lenticel. Now we will know why plants do not have special respiratory organs. This is due to three reasons. First is that each plant's part take care of its own gas exchange needs, and there is very little transport of gases from one part of the plant to other part of the plant. Second is that plants do not present great demands for gas exchange. Roots, stems and leaves respire at rates far lower than animals do. Third reason is that the distance that gases must diffuse even in large bulky plants is not great. Each living cell in a plant is located quite close to the surface of the plant. Now it is about combustion of glucose. During complete combustion of glucose, carbon dioxide, water and energy is released as end products. But the oxidation of glucose is not a single step, but it is taking place in several small steps. Some organisms do not utilize oxygen as they are called as anaerobes. Why? Because they do not utilize oxygen. Let us know about difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Few are listed here. Aerobic respiration is common in all higher plants, whereas anaerobic respiration is uncommon in higher plants, but they are common in certain microorganisms. Aerobic respiration is a permanent process and goes on through the life cycle or life of the plant. But anaerobic respiration occurs for a temporary phase under anaerobic condition in higher plants when the oxygen availability is not present. In case of aerobic respiration, 36 ATP is released, whereas in case of anaerobic respiration, only 2 ATP is released. Aerobic respiration takes place in presence of oxygen, whereas anaerobic respiration occurs in absence of oxygen. End products of aerobic respiration are carbon dioxide and water along with energy. But the end product of anaerobic respiration are ethanol, that is also called as ethyl alcohol, carbon dioxide along with energy. Now let us discuss about glycolysis. All living organisms, whether they are aerobes or anaerobes, glycolysis takes place and it is occurring in the cytoplasm of the cell. In glycolysis, there is partial oxidation of glucose. Complete breakdown of glucose is not takes place into two molecules of pyruvic acid. In plants, glucose is derived from sucrose, which is the end product of photosynthesis or from storage carbohydrates. So the breakdown of glucose into pyruvic acid is called glycolysis. The term glycolysis is originated from two Greek words, glykos and lysis. Glykos means sugar and lysis means splitting, that is breaking. The scheme of glycolysis was first described by Gustav Imden, Otto Meyerhof and J. Paranus. Thus it is also called as EMP pathway. Now we will learn about the process of glycolysis. As we know that glycolysis is a stepwise process. So in the first step of glycolysis, sucrose is converted into glucose and fructose with the help of enzyme invertase, as the end product of photosynthesis is sucrose. So this must be converted into glucose and fructose for further reactions. Then in the second step, glucose and fructose are phosphorylated into glucose 6-phosphate by enzyme hexokinase. This phosphorylation process is done by combining with ATP. Now glucose 6-phosphate isomerizes into fructose 6-phosphate with the help of enzyme phosphoglucoisomerase. Then fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate with the help of enzyme phosphofructokinase. Here also ATP is required. This ATP, we can see here that it is utilized at two steps. First, it is during the conversion of glucose into glucose 6-phosphate, and second, in the conversion of fructose 6-phosphate into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Now fructose 1,6-bisphosphate is split into dihydroxyacetone phosphate and 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde, that is PGAL, in the presence of enzyme aldolase. Then 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde is converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid, or we call it as 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, that is BPGA, with enzyme triose phosphate dehydrogenase. Here NADH plus H plus is formed from NAD, means the reduced, it is NAD is reduced into NADH. Now from 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid, 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, 3-phosphoglyceric acid is formed in the presence of enzyme phosphoglyceric transphosphorylase. Here ATP is released from ADP. Then from 3-phosphoglyceric acid, 2-phosphoglycerate is formed with enzyme phosphoglyceromutase. Now from 2-phosphoglycerate, 2-phosphoenol pyruvate is formed with the help of enzyme enolase. Here there is release of water, and finally phosphoenol pyruvate forms pyruvic acid in the presence of enzyme pyruvate kinase with the release of ATP from ADP. Here it is about the different steps of glycolysis. You may observe here ATP utilized and ATP released. These are the 10 reactions of glycolysis. You may go through it. It is very easy for understanding of glycolysis process. Now it is about the balance sheet of ATP production and ATP utilization in glycolysis. During the step, when the glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate, one molecule of ATP is utilized and there is no production. Again, when the fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, then one molecule of ATP is again utilized, but there is no production of ATP. Again, when there is conversion of 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid to 3-phosphoglyceric acid, then ATP utilization is nil, but ATP production is 2 molecule. Again, during the conversion of 2-phosphoenol pyruvic acid into pyruvic acid or pyruvate, there is no ATP utilization, but there is net production of here 2 ATP. So, the total ATP utilization is 2 and total ATP production is 4. So, there is net gain of ATP, that is 4 minus 2, that is equal to 2. So, this is all about today's session. Thank you. For any kind of doubts, please write your questions in comment section.